Hi, and welcome to JD's Long Box and another episode of JD's Sketchbook. For this episode, we're going to look at how I made the cover for a hypothetical Jack Reacher comic book. I'm going to start with this pencil sketch of Reacher. It is a bit of a cheat because I printed out this picture of Alan Richardson and sketched over top of it to transfer it onto my Bristol board. First, I'll use my Winsor & Newton Series 7 brush with the Dr. Martens Black Star ink. I'm using the brush for all the outlines because it'll give me thick fluid lines and give his outline strong definition. By adjusting the pressure on the brush or curving my wrist, I can change the thickness of the lines, giving contour where I want heavier shadows or making thinner lines in the lighter areas. Now we're getting into the details as I go around the face, where I want the lines a little tighter and finer. Hair is always a challenge. I'm swishing in the impressions of highlights and shadows, and the beauty of this brush is that I can fill in the dark areas with heavy strokes and still get very fine lines for more detail. I've never used a brush this much on a character before, so this is still an experiment to me. I've worked more with fine liner micron pens in the past, but I really like blocking in the shadows with this brush. The ink goes down smooth and gives me really organic shapes. I can also fill in the darkest areas with just some quick brush strokes, putting the blobby shapes in just the right place to give the impression of shadow. I'm switching over to the Speedball 108 dip pen. This gives me much finer lines for the details and is better for hatching in some shading. This tip is very flexible though, so I can still get very interesting line shapes. As you can see, it makes clean, thin lines that are a little unpredictable, which really helps define the wavy folds of the fabric. But you always have to watch out for the drips, of course, right in the middle of his face. But don't worry, I'll soak up the excess and I'll come back and fix this later. Back to shading and filling in some details on his face. I am switching over to the Faber-Castell .3 Pitt Artist Pen to line in the eyes. I want the eyes to be clean and sharp, and I don't trust myself to be this precise with any other tool. So I'll stick with this for a few of the other important details. I try to keep my lines smooth and matching the character of what I did with the brush, but I have more control for the finer details. Now back to the Winsor & Newton brush for the shadows. I think this is my favorite part. I just love how the ink flows here. I'm keeping my lines all going the same way to match the direction of the light. I'll finish in the hatching with the sharper lines of the speedball pen. And then back to the brush to squiggle in the eyebrows. Just a few more finishing touches, and that's it for the inks. I use my kneading eraser to clean off the pencil lines. For my cleanup, I'm using Liquitex Titanium White Acrylic Paint. I just paint over the spots I want to remove, and after it dries, I'll go back over it with a second coat. This paint is really old and dried out, but this is what I've been using to fix my mistakes for years, and it looks like I may be running out soon. And all done. There's the ink work for the Reacher comic book cover. I really hope you like this look at my inking process. Be sure to check out part 2 where I show the coloring process for the Reacher comic cover. Or you can check out some of my other videos on my channel. Until next time, I'm JD, and this box is closed.